Nice, cool fall morning. Isn't it nice to have some cool weather again? I'm going to lead us in meditation. Before I do, I want to give my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to those who helped me out this past week. Helped me out on Sunday. Reverend Ron took my place last week as I was recovering from a nasty head cold. When Rose heard me on the phone, I don't think she believed it was me. It was a little rough of a time, and Reverend Ron stepped in. We had others step up. Bill led the meditation this past week, as I wanted to make sure I was symptom-free before I stepped back into the sanctuary. So I really want to give you my heartfelt gratitude in that. I want us to go into a time of meditation here this morning with a focus on love. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable in your seats wherever you are at here this morning. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, I invite you to get comfortable wherever you are, to allow your arms to relax, your shoulders to kind of fall away and down from your ears, your hands to rest by your side or gently on your lap. Just allow yourself to start focusing on your breath and focusing on this relaxing presence of God within. So breathing in, I invite you to breathe in a sense of peace. Breathing out, I invite you to breathe out a sense of love. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love. Breathe in peace and breathe out love. Know that this loving presence, this power, this source, this substance, this principle that we call God is around you and inside of you. It is a place of peace. It is a place of love. It is a place of knowing that we are connected to each other. It is a place where we can rest at any moment, at any time. And so I invite you to know this presence here for yourself. I invite you to affirm this in your mind and in your heart here today. I am an expression of love. I am an expression of love. Love is always present. It is what connects us, moves through us, energizes us, heals us, restores us, and makes us whole. And it is always ours. It is infinite and abundant, and in every cell, every fiber of our being, it underlies all that we are and all that we have the possibility of becoming. Breathe in and know these words for yourself. I am an expression of love. I am an expression of love. I invite you to know this for yourself for a few moments in the silence as we enter the stillness, enter the silence. I invite you to stay present to this presence for just another moment. Knowing in your heart and your mind and every cell and fiber of your being that you are an expression of love. That every individual you meet is an expression of love. That every person in this community, in this city, in this state, in this country, and in this world is an expression of love. We all have this divine presence within us, and I invite you to be aware of this as you move forward throughout your day and your week and into next month. So breathing in one more time, breathe in this presence of peace and breathe out the knowingness that you are love and you are loved. I invite you to bring back a gentle awareness to your body. Maybe you wiggle fingers and toes. Allow yourself to gently roll your wrist or your ankles or even your shoulder or your neck, being gentle in how you bring movement back to your body. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. How was that for a loving meditation here this morning? I hope it's what you needed here today. So today we're going to conclude our spiritual wisdom of pets, and as we do so, I want to share a message with each of you on the idea of loyalty, devotion, and love. And what I have to say today might surprise you, or it might not. We'll see what happens. If you haven't picked up a copy of Spiritual Wisdom of Pets, we do have some of these available in our lobby. We'll have them out for another week. And we are also we started putting out our next Sunday series on the true spirit of gratitude. We have booklets available as well. So make sure you pick those up. There's some inspiring things to be said about the spiritual wisdom of pets. I can tell you that what we touched upon in our 4 services this month does not even begin to touch upon all the ways that our pets can inspire us, can love us, can help us transform. So I invite you to do that. In her article on loyalty, devotion, and love, Trish Yancy, who is a licensed Unity teacher and senior minister down in Sebring, Florida, says, quote, "It's a running joke in my family that if you ever want to find me, all you need to do is follow the trail of furry family members." Now, I couldn't help but smile and laugh when I read this. I said, yes, 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 this is what happens in our household. The same could easily be said of our 3 cats, where at any given time, at least one of them, if not all 3 of them, are in the same room with me. They either want to be by my side or, more preferable to them, in my lap. Well, there's only limited room in my lap, so sometimes they have to kind of fight and, decide who's going to be taking that time. Now, they do scuffle sometimes, but most of the time they're really gentle about how they do that. If one of the cats leaves, the other cat takes advantage of that gap in my lap and goes right for it. So here's the thing. In our household, we don't follow dogma, we follow catma. And this means that rather than our cats having owners, our cats have servants. So that is catma. We also get cases of what's called feline paralysis, where as long as there is a cat in your lap, you're not allowed to move. So we really love our cats. I know whenever I sit down, the cat will just kind of appear out of nowhere and is in my lap. And Chris smiles and he laughs because he's like, you just sat down. But it happens to him as well, although sometimes in the opposite. He'll get up from the couch, and literally within a few seconds of him getting up from the couch, Orion is there to take that warm spot that Chris left behind. So me sitting anywhere, really us sitting anywhere in the living room, is like this flashing beacon that pets and cuddles are open for service, right? It's this flashing beacon that lets them know. And so I'm going to introduce you to how our 3 feline companions help us understand loyalty, devotion, and love here today. I want to introduce you to Lily. Lily is the oldest of our 3 feline companions, and she likes to sit on blankets. In particular, she knows that a blanket in my lap means that pets and cuddles are open. So she will actually put her paws on the side of the recliner and wait to jump in my lap until there is a blanket present. My lap is open, but no, she's got to have that blanket sitting over my lap. Somehow it's an indicator that if the blanket is there, mom's not going to be moving for a while. And so she takes full advantage of that. But here's the thing about Lily. Lily is so much a motherly kind of cat. What do I mean by that? She has a kind of knack, a kind of intuition for knowing when I am not feeling my best. She gives me extra attention, extra cuddles during that time. Now, maybe it's because I'm not feeling my best that I tend to notice it a little bit more, but man, she seems to get more attention in those times where I'm just like, hey, I'm tired, I'm not quite feeling up to myself. She seems to know sometimes before I even know. And so her loyalty, her devotion expresses more in those moments where I need it most. And it's a reminder to care for myself and to care for others, especially when they're in need. I'm going to introduce you to Gidget. Gidget Arrant is one of our troublemakers. She doesn't look it, does she? She doesn't look like a troublemaker. As Jean and Bill will tell you, she is quick and fast, and she does not get to anywhere she's going at a slow speed. She sprints, she hops, she pounces down the hallway, just like from Winnie the Pooh with Tigger. She is going to use her speed and her bounciness to get to wherever she wants to go. It's so much so that whenever I'm moving from one room to the next and she wants to be by my side, guess what happens? If I'm moving down that hallway, she is sprinting towards where she thinks I'm going. And I've had to actually start stopping myself in the hallway, because otherwise she'll sometimes run into my feet and sometimes trip me. And I don't want to hurt her or me in that process. But she doesn't know a slow speed unless she's sleeping. Now, she is a steadfast in her loyalty, her devotion, and love. She wants to be by my side at all times. It doesn't matter if I'm doing artwork. It doesn't matter if I'm relaxing. It doesn't matter if I'm wanting to be in my office, quietly being able to do my work and reflect and write and all those kinds of things. She's not so quietly at my door letting me know that her exile from my office is not acceptable. She needs to be where I am at all times. So her loyalty, her devotion, her love is expressed in her ability to want to be by my side. In that expression, she's consistent and continuous in her affection and wanting to be right where mommy is. I also want to introduce you to Orion. He's a ham. I tell you, he's created a very new dynamic in our house since he entered it in 2021. And he enjoys playtime. By that, I mean, if there is anything that dangles or looks like it could be a toy, he is on it, including my belt earlier today, including some of my jewelry as I was getting it out of my jewelry box. He was like, yes, if it dangles, I'm there, I'm trying to go after it. So his favorite thing to do, we have these shoestrings and kind of these cords from hoodies and different things. You can't keep cords in hoodies because he's going to destroy them. So you might as well go ahead and take them out and let him play with them. So we take these out and we have to keep them away from him when he's not being observed, because we don't want him to swallow them or to get caught up in them when he's, that's a very real danger for cats. So we take them away, we put them in a drawer when he's not being observed, when it's not playtime, but guess what he's discovered how to do? Get in the drawers. So now we have to move them from drawer to drawer to drawer, so he can't know which drawer they're in. But if you open a drawer, he has hearing like a bat, and he's there. He's like, oh, is it playtime? Is it playtime? That's what he likes to do. So Orion, his loyalty, his devotion, his love is in that reminder, not just for us to be present in the moment, but that playfulness builds connection. Playfulness builds relationships and connection. And so being together in those moments of play, he's not much of a lap cat, but he does like to cuddle sometimes. But he is a ham, and he will let you know when it's time to play. He'll actually drag the string to you. He's one of the few cats that we have that will actually play fetch with you. So if you toss the string down the hall, he'll chase after it, and then he'll drag it back when he's ready for you to throw it again. So he is a ham, and his loyalty, his devotion shows up in that reminder of being present, living in the moment, and being aware of our playful nature. That even in the busyness of life, it doesn't matter how busy you are, there is moments for love and for interaction and for play. So yes, there are a lot of misconceptions about our feline companions, right? A lot of misconceptions that cats are aloof and that they're not engaging and that they just want to sit in a corner and be by themselves and they don't want interaction. At least with our cats, this couldn't be further from the truth. Our cats are always there, always wanting attention. And so we also have those misconceptions, I think, sometimes about our fellow humans, don't we? Right? The misconception that just because someone behaves a certain way or has certain beliefs or certain words that come out of their mouths that they're not open to love or they're not an expression of love. So today I want to talk to you a little bit more about loyalty and devotion. When I'm speaking of loyalty and devotion today, I'm really talking about how it is related to love, how it is an expression to love. It's our allegiance and our dedication to living from a place of love and in service to love. So when I'm speaking of loyalty today, I'm speaking of a spiritual kind of loyalty. Not an unwavering allegiance, right? Not something where you are just loyal to an individual or an ideology or an organization or a sovereign or a state, right? Those are ways that we can define loyalty, but that's not what I'm talking about here today. I'm talking about a place of allegiance, of living from love. And so I'm not talking about a faithfulness to one's oath or commitments or obligations, particularly those that might be a place of like guilt or shame or fear. You know what happens when we have those shoulds in our lives and they make us feel really bad when we should all over ourselves? I'm not talking about that, right? When I'm talking about devotion, I'm not referring to a dedication out of a sense of obligation or commitment to something in this manifest realm. I am talking about a commitment to be an expression of love and in service to love. So this is a little bit different than I think how we define it out in the world. So when I'm talking about loyalty and devotion, I'm really talking about how these are in relationship to love. I'm talking about how they come forth out of a selfless, unconditional love, divine love, of wanting to be present to another being, to another person, for all of life's ups and downs, not because you owe them something, but because you want to be a loving presence. This can be a little bit difficult for us to do sometimes. It comes from living principle number 2, from seeing the divine in others wherever we are at. That's a hard one. It can be hard sometimes, right? To want to see the divine in others past their behavior, past their beliefs, past their words sometimes, that can be a real struggle. But that's what I'm talking about today. A loyalty and devotion that's in service to love, that is us living from a place of divine love, a place from spiritual truth. It's a loyalty and devotion that is the actionable part of living our 5 principles. Now, when Charles Fillmore talks about loyalty, and he does mention it in several of his writings, he mentions a loyalty to spiritual truth, a loyalty to personal transformation through living spiritual truth. That's what he's talking about. It's not a person. He doesn't say, only believe my writings, right? Only believe what Jesus said. He doesn't say, only believe X, Y, Z. He says, believe in spiritual truth. What is that for us individually? As we express it, as we live it. So when I'm talking about loyalty and devotion, I'm also talking about a loyalty and devotion that is tempered by our spiritual understanding and wisdom. That's tempered through our Christ consciousness. That comes from a place of understanding what is mine to do in love here and now. So what does it mean when we speak of love? So I don't always believe everything that came out of Charles Fillmore's writings. I'm going to be honest with you there. There are some things that he had ideas about that just do not fit our time frame right now, contemporary life whatsoever. Yet, I'm also drawn to his words a lot of times on the big ideas, especially when it comes to how he defined love. So I want to share this with you today. He defined love as the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Think about that for a moment. This pure essence of being, that which is of God, which binds together all of us in this oneness. That's how he defined love. He would go on to say, of all the attributes of God, love is undoubtedly the most beautiful. Isn't that the case? In divine mind, love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. It is the great harmonizing principle known to man. So when you are living from a place of spiritual loyalty and devotion, right? You are living from this place of love, this harmonizing principle. You are living from a place of wanting to bring things together in harmony, not divide, not separate, not live from a place of fear. When I was preparing today's message, I was reminded of the way Rose talks about A Course in Miracles. You're either living in love or you're living in fear. And so having the spiritual loyalty, the spiritual devotion means that we are dedicated, that we are in allegiance to wanting to live from a place of love, from wanting that to be our spiritual expression. So I want to share one more quote with you from Charles Fillmore that I really enjoyed. He says, "Divine love is impersonal. It loves for the sake of loving. It is not concerned with what or who it loves, nor with the return of love. Like the sun, its joy is in the shining forth of its nature." I want you to imagine for a second that you could love for the sake of love and get joy just from expressing that love in all that you say and all that you do and all of who you are. Now, I'm not going to say that it's easy, right? Loving our loyal and devoted and loving pets, that's easy. That's cake. That's a cake walk compared to sometimes how I feel about my fellow humans. And it's hard because our pets are so easy to love, to give love to be loyal and devoted to them, and you get all of that love and affection back. It's like this continuous reciprocal cycle. You never have to worry about if it's going to run out. It's always present. It's a little bit more difficult with our human companions, isn't it? When there are behaviors that sound like separation and division and hatred and animosity, and that come out of a place of fear, sometimes it's hard to see past that to the divine presence in others. And this is the thing, I'm not going to say it's easy because I struggle with it myself. I look at the news and at the things that are happening, and I have trouble. And here I am devoting so much of my time, not just to my own spiritual journey, but to guiding this congregation, and I still have trouble. We are all the same in that. Sometimes it's really difficult to look past that. And I never want us to come to this place of positivity and say, oh, it should just be easy. Being in unity, being dedicated and loyal to your spiritual transformation is probably the hardest thing you will ever do in your lifetime. but it's also the most rewarding. Feeling that love, that connection to each other, that is rewarding. Being of service to each other, knowing that it doesn't matter who walks through that door, this is a welcoming, loving community, that is something to be really amazed by. The question we have now is, can we continue that when we walk through those doors in the outside world? So as I was thinking about this today, it was and this week, it was really hard to encapsulate how difficult it is sometimes to live from principle 2. It's something that I'm being called to do. I know that. I think it's something we're all being called to do. Yet it's something that I know I need to tend to. If I'm feeling animosity or division or hatred in my heart, that's something I need to tend to. That's not something I should just ignore. It's not something that I should just say, oh, well, that was a passing thought, and let it be. I need to figure out where that's coming from. I need to figure out where I can get to the root of that weed that's growing and get it out of there. And that's the hard part of living our principles. So how often do you wish that humans were just as loving as our pets? That they would sit beside us in our grief and not judge us, not push away the pain that we're feeling or try to push away their own pain? That they would support us when we get sick or come out of the hospital? That they would be there for us, sitting with us, listening to us? And so I think about, what are the ways we can show up in this human expression? Well, I tell you what, if you are wanting to learn more about that, Carlos Whitaker is going to give you a wake-up call. Think about this. He talks about the Amish community having 90-minute dinners. When's the last time that you sat down and had a 90-minute dinner without technology? Without the TV on, without the phone going? But could we do that? Could we support each other? Could we take a meal to somebody when they're not feeling their best, when they're recovering from something? Could we call them and say, hey, I want to visit, not for anything special, not because it's your birthday or something's going on or I want to watch the game on the cable you have, but because I want to visit with you, because I want to hear you and engage with you and hold space with you. That is what we're being called to do. And it's hard. So as I was preparing this message this week, 2 things came to me. One is that love was the greatest of the teachings that Jesus taught. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't specify what color your neighbor was, what race, what ethnicity, what sexual orientation, what background. He doesn't specify. He wanted you to treat the foreigner as yourself. He wanted you to love one another as I have loved you. Those are hard words to follow sometimes, aren't they? So I want to talk to you a little bit more about the parable, the story. It's not really a parable, but the story of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. Because this is another thing that came to me this week. I was thinking, how was it that Jesus really demonstrated his loyalty and his devotion and his love? And I know of all the stories I could have picked, this is the one that came to me. Washing the feet of his disciples. So this story comes from John chapter 13. Is this the only time he's of service to others? Absolutely not. But it's the one that came to me. And so in demonstrating this for his disciples, he wasn't just saying, hey, I'm going to tell you how to live, and you do that, and I'm going to go over here and do the opposite. Jesus didn't do that. He said, hey, this is how you live, and I'm going to demonstrate for you what this is like. That even though there was a hierarchical kind of way of referring to your teacher and referring to your disciples and referring to these kind of different roles that take place in the society, that doesn't matter. You can set all that aside, because when it comes to being loyal and devoted to living from love, we are all the same. That is what he was teaching when he washed the feet of his disciples. Is saying, I'm just like you, you're just like me. Let us be of service to one another. Let us be one in this presence with one another. So he not only expressed this, he demonstrated it. What it is to live with this kind of servant mentality of being a servant to love. So that's what I'm going to invite you to consider this week. As you go about the rest of your day, as you go about the rest of your week, I want you to consider how you might express more loyalty and devotion, not to an individual or a certain belief system, but to love itself. How can you show up, not just for your animal companions, but for your fellow human companions? So for those who are joining us here in person, I really do invite you to pick up this booklet if you haven't already. We're concluding our series today. There was a lot of gems we didn't get to, so please pick this up and get a little inspiration when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed, maybe before you enter meditation. These are really good booklets to have. And I'm also going to invite you to join us next week as we start our new series, The True Spirit of Gratitude. So as we're going into Thanksgiving, we're thinking about all those ways we can be grateful, that we can cultivate gratitude for our blessings, and how we can become more mindful of those many ways that we are blessed. And so as we're going into our holiday season, yes, it's just right around the corner. Christmas isn't that far away, right? I want you to start to think about how you can transform this love that you learned about today and add it into your gratitude. All these ways that people show up for you, that life shows up for you in love. So I want to thank you for your attention today, for being present, to your being loyal and devoted. Absolutely, Chloe, yes. Being loyal and devoted to being that expression of love. I want to invite you to share in our affirmation one more time with me. I am an expression of love. Namaste.
Excuse me. Thank you, Melissa, again for a wonderful message. I can just feel the love in the room. Let's give her another hand. Okay. And now it is time to enter into generosity consciousness. Thank you to all who have continued to bless our spiritual community with your tithes and offerings. We are truly blessed by your giving. And if you feel led by the Spirit today, we invite you to prepare your gift now. And if you are led to make an online donation today, you can use our convenient PayPal QR code or visit our website. And we now invite you to hold your gift or thought of your gift in your mind and in your heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And we're going to have our music team come up. All right.
Okay. Talk about reconnecting
we're going to try to reconnect with a song that's at least 15 years ago. It's kind of a mashup of Three Dog Night and Rare Earth called Celebrate. Are we ready?
Okay, first line before we sing.
Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. I just want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of love. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Put your faith in Spirit. God won't let you down. Keep a life that is centered. You'll stay on solid ground. I want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of love. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Can't be bothered by sorrow, can't be bothered by hate. When you find the Spirit, you'll want to celebrate. I want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of love. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. I just want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of love. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Celebrate, celebrate, dance with the Spirit. Dance with the Spirit.